What is it about the big games that just brings it out of you? You have it every night, but there's something about those big games, Hannah, that we
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
What is it that gets you so hyped up to play that way?
The fans really get me going when, it's a big game, the crowd is sold out and everybody's just excited. They're cheering and we get that first three, especially being at home, when we get that first three and it goes in, the crowd erupts. It just like it feeds and it really feeds into me and it makes me like even more excited, or even being away if we get an and one and the crowd is silent and we just hear our fan section who seems like they fill the gym, and just kind of that energy that the fans bring and that the coaches bring, the bench brings. It's just like it's big.
Welcome back to Sometimes I Hoop. We've got a freshman phenom today on the pod. Quick humble brag about our superstar. Shattered the ACC freshman scoring record, third in scoring in the NCAA with 23.3 a game, leading the NCAA in steals with 4.6 a game, ACC Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, first team All-American. You're always catching her rocking some gold hoops. None other than Notre Dame's Hannah Hidalgo. Thank you for hopping on the pod.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
No, so excited to have you here. And we're heading into tournament time, which is the most exciting time of the season. So what song do we have on repeat right now?
I'm really listening to gospel. I'm on to the gospel. So right now I feel like it's Hosanna by Kirk Franklin. That's
Oh,
what I
that's good. I feel like I remember you saying Melodies from Heaven is
Melodies from
also,
Heaven
that's
was,
one of your
yeah,
go-tos?
that's a go-to also.
Okay, for sure. That's one of mine too. Anything Kirk, if we're being
Yes,
honest,
Kirk,
is
yes.
is
Kirk is the
elite.
one.
But jumping into just the landscape right now, women's college basketball, it's insane. I mean, you were ACC champs, close win over NC State, first ACC tournament title under Coach Niel. So
Yes.
what were the vibes like after the game, before the game? Just what was it like winning your first ACC title?
Going into the game, especially with Kylie going down, we were playing for something bigger than ourselves. And, we were playing for not only each other, but really a lot for Kylie, too. We had nothing to lose. And obviously, we played NC State before. And so we kind of wanted to get back a little bit, kind of the way we went down that game. And so we came out with so much energy. And we were just, playing for each other. We had trusted each other. And we were all clicking. And, my team and I, we started clicking at the right moments. And so we just came in with energy and we were fired up. After the game, everyone was ecstatic, especially Coach Ivy, it being her first win as a head coach, and she's done it as a player, she's done it as an assistant, and now just being a head coach and being able to do it. And I feel like she was hyped, and we were all just hyped just for each other and just for her too.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you said it perfectly. You're peaking at the right time. Like
Yeah.
this is the time when you want everything to be clicking, no matter what happened in the regular season,
hmm
preseason. Like this is when you want it to be going. And
Yes.
so, before we get into the brackets, talk about your many awards real quick that we have going on. ACC Rookie of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year. You're the second ACC player to ever do that in the same season. So, talk to me about your approach on defense. How are you getting these steals? I got to see you at Georgia Tech. It's timing, it's quick hands, it's all these different things. How do you just stay on top of that every single game?
I get my energy from my defense, especially just being a smaller guard. Always being a smaller guard, I had to figure out how to do something else because scoring wasn't always my thing, especially playing against bigger girls. And I was so small, I didn't know how to finesse and score over, taller girls. And so I was always told that defense wins championships. So I always took pride in my defense. And I feel like it not only gives me energy, but it also gives energy to my teammates when we're able to get stops and we're able to run a transition. Like that's really our bread and butter. And so when I'm able to do that, it makes it easier for my teammates.
We see it night in and night out. You get hyped off the defensive
I
end. You
do.
get steals, all these different things. I feel like your teammates feed off that energy
Yes.
too. But moving from high school to college, it's an adjustment. And
Mhm.
so, did you feel like, there were adjustments that had to be made, obviously on the offensive end, but on the defensive end, where you're really making these amazing strides as a freshman?
In high school, I was able to take the ball so easily, and it might look like now it's so easy for me, but I've learned and I'm still learning how to, not reach every time. Like in high
Yeah.
school, I was able to reach every time and still be able to recover, but now girls they're bigger, they're stronger, they're faster, and so I have to be able to learn how to, contain and not always play with my hands, especially when we have low numbers. We're not able to sub as much, so I have to learn how to, stay out of foul trouble, which is something that I've
Mhm.
learned a lot and I'm still learning.
Well, I mean, it looks like the transition was seamless for you. It looks like it's been going great. So love that for you. But I mean, now we head into tournament time.
Yeah.
And before we get into the brackets, Selection Sunday is special. It's so
Mhm.
much fun, having the whole watch party, the whole thing
Mhm.
going on. So when you guys found out you were a 2 seed, what were the vibes like? Was it excitement? Did you expect to
Yeah.
be that high of a seed? What was it like?
We have so many pictures of everybody just, like,
Yeah.
shocked, like, everybody's mouth was wide open, and people were covering their mouths and everything, so a lot of people were saying we were gonna get the 5 seed or the 4 seed, and so for us to just show up as, the 2 seeded, it really shows to how much we've grown as a team and, how well we're doing, on the court and just playing together, so everybody was just I think everybody was shocked for the most
Yeah.
part.
I mean, to be predicted at 4-5 and get the
Yeah.
2, I would
Yeah.
be hyped up.
Big.
Like, that's a big jump. And I think you guys deserve it. Like, you were solid in the regular season, and winning the tournament really speaks a lot,
Yes.
talking about the
Yeah.
momentum and whatnot.
Right.
But the brackets are tough.
They
And
are.
Albany won, which you guys were in, South Carolina, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Indiana,
Yeah.
Oregon State, Ole Miss, and y'all. Like, that's hefty. And I think
Yeah.
that goes for every single region. And so how do you feel about the region? Is there a certain matchup that's catching your eye, or Ole Miss
Mhm.
got us last year, so they're always somebody
Yeah.
I got my eye on. So
Yeah.
what are you feeling
Mhm.
about your region?
I'm excited, and there's a lot of good teams, there's a lot of athletic teams, and we're just excited to come in and play. Of course, we're excited for that, South Carolina matchup. Prayerfully,
Yeah.
we do well. Of course, we played South Carolina our first game of the whole season, and just us being a completely new team and trying to learn each other. I think it's going to be a lot different now that we're clicking with each other and we know each other a lot better now. So we're excited for that matchup, but really we're just taking it one game at a time. So
Obviously, you have Final Four in your sights and
yeah,
all these different big matchups, but like you got to take care of business every
yeah,
single
every
round
game.
because every game is somebody's last game, which is so
Hmm.
crazy to think about.
Right.
But talking about some of these other regions, Texas took the 1 seed, and I think Portland 4. What do we feel about Texas being a number 1? They won the Big 12 title just as you
Mhm.
guys did in the tournament. I
Yeah.
feel like that's another good matchup. You have Stanford, NC State, possible Sweet 16,
Mhm.
Tennessee's in that region as well, like
Yeah.
another hefty one.
I
So, what do
know.
we think about that one?
Yeah, Texas, they're a phenomenal team, and of course, my
Yeah.
best friend Madison, she plays on Texas too. So of course, I'm rooting for her. I would love to be able to, see her and kind of play against her. But
Yeah.
the regions are tough. The brackets are tough. I saw the brackets, especially with like LSU and Iowa and UCLA, like all in that one bracket. Like that's a tough bracket. But I'm excited because you never know. Like a 16, seed could come and take somebody else and
You
beat the
never
one
know.
seed. Like there's the way that people step up during March Madness and just come to play, it's crazy. So you never know who's gonna be upset.
Seriously, and I feel like the other region with both Virginia Tech and Syracuse, that's
Yeah.
ACC kind of royalty right there.
Yes.
And they
Yeah.
had great seasons, but with Virginia Tech losing Elizabeth Kitley,
Mhm.
how do you feel like that impacts them moving through the rest of the tournament?
Yeah. Liz is a great player, and she really leads that team. But you know, um, Georgia Moore, she's tough, and so
Yeah.
she's doing a great job of being able to take that team and put it on her shoulders.
Yeah, and then the last region, which I feel like has kind of gotten everybody going crazy, Iowa, Colorado, LSU, and
Yes.
UCLA in
Yes.
one corner is literally insane. So do
I
you feel like that's the hardest corner of the bracket?
That's a lot of talent. That's a lot of
Yeah.
talent. I'm not gonna say who's is better, but that's a lot of talent, a lot of athleticism, and a lot of
Yeah.
girls who can just flat out ball. And so there's a lot of dogs over there in that little region. And so it's gonna be
Yeah.
exciting who comes out on top because those are the top 4 teams, but you never know somebody else who's lower who's not talked about could just come and shock somebody. So
You seriously never know. There's a Cinderella team every single
mhm,
tournament.
absolutely.
Thinking about the tournament, I want to get into the madness a little bit. And these next questions are brought to you by our lovely sponsor, Wendy's. So, outside the ACC, which teams made you do a double take this season? Anyone who can make a run in the tournament?
Yeah, I think Utah really impressed me
Mm-hmm.
a lot. Like
Yeah.
Peely, like the way I think they beat a couple, you know, ranked teams. They really shocked me. Like the way that Peely kind of carries her team on her shoulders and she scored
Yeah.
40 against some top team. Like the way that they kind of they play is like tough. And obviously USC too. They have a lot of dogs and how they, you know, at the beginning of the season they were unranked and didn't know anything about them, and now they shoot up and now they're in the top talk every single week, and so
Yeah.
they're also a top team.
No, I agree. Peely's a bucket. Watching her do what she did
Yes.
against South Carolina at her size, like insane to be doing that
Yes.
against Camilla and all these other players that they have.
Yeah, her being undersized, yeah, she's
Oh
tough.
my God, yeah. But, talking about Peely, are there any other players that have been standouts to you? I know your freshman class is kind of insane this year. So is there
Mhm.
any other standouts across the country that you've really been impressed with?
Of course, I like watching, kind of like the freshmen,
Uh-huh.
especially girls that I grew up, kind of playing against or kind of
Yeah.
playing with. Like, Michaela Williams and how
Mhm.
she contributes to, her team. And, Malaysia Fawali, I watched, them play against Tennessee and how she was cooking. But,
Yeah.
Addison Booker, she had to take on a big role as Texas as the point guard went down. And so just watching kind of these girls that, I played against and grew up playing with and stuff like that. It's just great to see how they're making an impact just as freshmen and against these top girls.
Yeah, I mean, the freshman class is literally insane. Like, as you continue to name people, it's just like, wow, they're kind of
Yeah.
the star of their team right now. Like, they all
Yeah.
took on these huge roles, just
Mhm.
like you did at Notre Dame. But before we get into you a little bit more, I want to talk about, I feel like, just with the level of talent that we talk so much about, fan bases are really rallying behind that, right? And
Mhm.
it's so much fun. There's sellouts every week. And I
Yeah.
know at Notre Dame, you guys have
Mhm.
huge crowds, but a lot of times moving into the tournament, neutral sites don't really feel very neutral. Fan
Mhm.
bases travel. I know last year seeing all of Baton Rouge in
Yeah.
Dallas for the Final Four
Yeah.
was crazy. So,
Yes.
in your experience, what fan base do you feel like has the craziest fans?
The craziest fans. To me, UConn had the craziest fans when we played
Uh,
them. That was
yeah,
that was a that especially it was that one was home, so it was like, of course, there's gonna be a lot of fans there, but like I know my parents were up in the stands and my people were up in the stands, and they're going back and forth with their little fan section. Their whole student section was yelling back and forth to our
yeah,
fan section. So theirs was crazy, newspapers and everything. Like that was just a crazy atmosphere to walk in and see just everything was white. Everything was white, and then, of course, it was just a small little section of green in our little corner, but that was crazy, and, of course, the ACC, championship, that was crazy too. Of course, we're
yeah.
in North Carolina, so they had a big fan section, and it felt like a home game for them, and so, I'm proud of my team, how we were able to, go through that adversity in that hostile environment.
I didn't even realize that the ACC the title was in North
Yeah,
Carolina. I
yeah.
bet they had a lot of
They
fans. And
had
I
a
mean,
lot of fans.
the Notre Dame UConn rivalry is always there as well. So I
Yeah.
bet that energy was just
It was
insane. Even watching
absolutely.
on TV, it's like, oh, that place is jumping right
Mhm.
now. It's
It
rocking.
it was.
But talking about the ACC a little bit, the guard play is insane. You got
Yeah.
people like Deja Fair, Deja Kelly, Georgia Amore, the list goes on. So
Mhm.
who do you feel like is one of the toughest guards for you? Because you're always picking up the best player on the other team, right?
I say the toughest guards, probably top Fair, of course, and then Georgia Amer. Those were the toughest. I mean,
Yeah.
we were throwing for Fair, we were throwing everything at her, like everything, and she was hitting step back threes and all that. I'm like, man, this girl's tough. She led her team really well. It was tough to guard her. Both times, first time and the second time was probably tougher. And of course, Georgia, we were able to contain her. First half, I think she only had like 3 points, and then second half she just went off, and then we started throwing everything at her. We were trapping, we were blitzing, and she was just getting her shot off, whether it was all the way to
Yeah.
the basket or just pull up. I mean, both of those guys were tough to guard.
I mean, it's crazy watching just how deep it is on every
Mhm.
single team. Because I feel like probably when you were in high school, when I was just starting out in college, it's like, there's a player on every
Yeah.
team, every few. You can skip a
Mhm.
few teams, but like nowadays, it's so deep. You got
It
people coming
is.
off the bench, you got whoever it is. But I feel
Mhm.
like the ACC guard play, we didn't even talk about tonight Latin at Florida State, like
Oh,
all
yeah.
these different bucket getters that we have
Mhm.
on every team. Before we talk about you, we have a little switch up in our vibe here. My question of the day that I love to ask our guests to really help me get to know you. And so it's going to be a little out of left field, but my question for you is, what's the largest animal you feel that you could beat in a fist fight with no weapons and you're in
Okay.
that animal's terrain?
And I would win?
Yeah, 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 like one you could win, like you have confidence. You have a
Okay.
big ego here. Like
Mhm.
what could you beat?
Okay. I could beat I think I could um
I feel like you're gonna say something crazy right now.
I think I could beat a giraffe.
Oh my God, that's mine.
I
I
think I could
literally
beat a
I say it
giraffe.
every week. Okay, but let me hear why. Why giraffe? Because I have my reasoning.
I think I think their neck is so long, like they wouldn't be able to see me. Like I feel like I can go
Mm,
under them, maybe like push them over, and then they wouldn't like they would just be down, and they would never
yeah.
be able to see me.
No, I think the same thing. Like if you go for the knees and then get
Mhm.
it on the ground, they're done. Like
No,
there's
they couldn't
they're
see me.
done. Oh, wow. Wow, we're here
We're
today.
right here. We're right here.
We're right
We're
here.
right
Okay.
here.
So now we're gonna lock back into you, taking it back to the roots. Grew up in New Jersey.
Mm,
What's the basketball culture like in New Jersey? Because I feel like there's a lot of
yeah.
hoopers that come out of there.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of tough hoopers that come out in this like Jersey, New York, Philly area. Like it's just like dogs. I think we just have this chip on our shoulder. Like we play with this different type of grit. And
Mhm.
playing in, where I'm from, that area, it was just like playing against all these tough girls who like nobody knew about.
No, I can see that. Like, y'all,
Mhm.
the DMV, y'all
Yeah.
play with a certain chip on your shoulder. I feel like it's all very much the same vibe.
Yes.
But growing up, did you feel like you modeled your game after any college players, any W players? Who did you kind of find that inspiration from?
Growing up, I didn't watch too much women's basketball until like I started like my junior year. It started really getting interesting to me, and that was like the year that Aries started going off, and
Yeah.
so I was watching her a lot. And she went on her run, and so just her being a smaller guard and her ability to be able to score over girls who were so much taller than her, and how she was able to lead her team. Like, of course, I watched her on that run that she went on.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna have to tell her. She was my teammate last year. She will be so
Yeah,
excited to hear that. But oh my God, she was a dog. We had to
yeah,
play her 3 times that year.
man.
Every time. I was like, I don't want to deal with this. Like, first of all, back up. Why are you never getting
Yeah,
tired?
picking
There's
up like yeah, she's.
like somebody give her a water break.
Yeah,
And I feel like that's the same way you are. Like you are relentless. You never stop
I
going.
try to
Which I'm
be.
sure as a teammate, I would love it. If I'm
Mhm.
playing against you, I'm like, girl, catch a sub. Catch a sub. But we talked a little bit about your freshman class and it being
Mhm.
just insane with talent. So,
Yeah.
who are some of those other top players that we're seeing kill it now? You remember going head to head with in high school, in AAU, at USA Trials, all those different places.
Of course, a lot of girls at USA Charles, it was like Malaysia, Juju, Michaela, Madison, Brea,
Hmm.
Jada, like all those girls, or Talia Scott, kind of
Yeah,
playing with these girls. Zoe Brooks. Zoe Brooks is also another, tough guard. But just to be able to see kind of what they're doing on their team now, and like you talk about the depth and kind of even Zoe Brooks, her coming off the bench, but she's
yeah.
such a talented player, how she's able to score and how she's able to move and finish over bigger girls. Like she's another tough guard. And so those were the girls who are making a big impact on their team and just as freshmen.
You guys are all amazing. And
Mhm,
like seeing you guys blow up on overtime and all these different things, like
mhm.
when you were younger, and
Yeah,
see it carry through into college is now
right.
amazing to
Yeah,
see.
that's big.
But you're at Notre Dame now, as we all know, superstar. You are number 5 in your class. What made you choose Notre Dame? Because I know I saw you at Stanford. We wanted to get
Yeah.
you, but I'm so like happy to see you thriving, and it
Mhm.
seems like you made the right decision.
Yeah.
So, what set that apart for you?
Yeah, Coach Ivy. Um,
Hmm.
just after, all of the experience that I kind of went through, like with USA basketball in high school, like I knew what I wanted, kind of in a coach, and I wanted to have that player coach relationship. And, I'm big on family, so I wanted to be in a family environment where I felt at home. And, you know, talking to Coach Ivy throughout the whole recruitment process, she was just so, consistent. And, she treated me as one of her own. And, of course, I asked outside sources because you're only going to get so much from, the inside
Yeah.
sources. And I always got the same answer that, with Nia, what you see is what you're gonna get. And so, she's genuine and she's such a player's coach. And of course, I saw that when I came on my visit. I really felt at home.
Well, I mean, we also heard yet another guest on your visit with Skylar Diggins. How was
Yeah,
that? Getting to have a
yeah,
superstar on your visit.
yeah. That was awesome. And just to
Yeah.
hear kind of, how she talks and how she sees the game, and why she came to Notre Dame too. And this being Guard University, and like
Hmm.
the connections that she built and that she still has. Even with Coach Ivy, and just kind of playing here was just big. And that was another reason I came.
I mean, shoot, that would send anybody over the edge to go to Notre Dame. Like that, I can just imagine my high school self seeing Skylar Diggins. I would be like, oh
Mhm.
my
Yeah, no,
God.
that was big.
Like I get all clammy, but no, I bet that was really cool. But talk to me about like you get to Notre Dame, you have somebody like Olivia Miles, she's out for the season, right?
Mhm.
So you come in, you're taking charge. When do
Yeah.
you feel like was that time where you got comfortable? Because I talked to Nia a little bit at Georgia Tech and just talking about
Mhm.
how she has so much trust in you, right? You're
Yeah.
another coach out there. Did that
Mhm.
come immediately? Did it take time? What was that adjustment like getting into being starting point guard?
Yeah, just coming right in the first day I stepped on campus, like, I feel like the coaches and my teammates just instilled so much trust in me. Like, coming in with summer workouts, they were just like, "Hey, shoot the ball." Like,
Yeah.
look, talk more like we're looking to you, like we need you on the court to be our point guard and to kind of lead us. And so just coming in as a freshman, right out of high school and just taking on, that responsibility and kind of hearing the upperclassmen and the older girls kinda saying, like, "Look, we need you to lead us." Just
Mhm.
that was just, like, big, and it gave me so much confidence, and of course, it could be, like, a lot being a freshman and kinda taking on that role, but
Yeah.
just also having that trust from, the coaches and even my teammates, it gave me so much confidence to be able to go out and kinda do what I did, like, in Paris and just, throughout the whole season.
I think that means so much. Like,
Yeah.
it's really the people that you surround yourself with
Absolutely,
heavily impact how
absolutely.
you're gonna perform, how you feel as a person. And so I think
Mhm.
that's so special when you have like even older teammates being
Yeah,
shoot the ball. Like,
yeah,
we need you to
yeah,
do this because you all had that common goal of a Final Four, of
yeah.
winning ACC title.
Mhm.
And so I think that means so much. And you're built for the big games. They instilled that for you, but you came out the gate.
Mhm.
You're having 31 against South Carolina, 34 against
Mhm.
UConn. But a little bit about those older teammates that you were talking about. You, Sonia, and Maddie are kind of the big three, and you
Mhm.
do have a great like supporting cast and all these people that
Yeah.
bring so much. But talk about the connection that the three of you have because it seems like that chemistry is just undeniable. Like if I was on the other team, I'd be so annoyed. Maybe one of you starts off slow, and
Yeah.
then the next one gets going, then you feed off
Mhm.
each other. So what is
Mhm.
it like having those two to really rely on?
Yeah, it's big, and it's so helpful that they're upperclassmen, so they know the system, and they've been in moments like this. They've been in these kind of situations, and so yeah, of course we need everybody. It's not just 3 against 5, but we need the other role players who are going to do their job. And of course, if one of us is not hot, the other two,
Yeah.
they're going to be hot. And so it's hard to guard all three of us because we're different positions and we bring something different to the game, and so when all three of us are going, when all five of us are going, and we're just kind of connecting and we're clicking. We're a tough team.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, now we're headed into the tournament
Yeah.
and it's unlike anything else. It's really hard to prepare for. It's similar to
Mhm.
the ACC setup where, you're playing so many games in a weekend, but what are you doing to prepare yourself for this first March Madness run?
Just staying locked into every practice. We're practicing how we're gonna play, and we're just bringing so much energy in every practice. We're going game speed. We're being physical. We're talking to each other. We're encouraging each other. We're just bringing that energy just consistently, and I think that'll really help us, especially with this long break that we're on. Just right after the ACC tournament, we have this long break, and so we're just trying to be consistent and taking every practice as seriously as possible, and just being intentional with every practice.
I love that. I mean, we already talked about you guys are peaking at the right time.
Yeah.
So my last question before we get into our rapid fire here is I heard that you and Skylar have a bet going on with the tournament. Are we allowed to hear what the bet is? Is this true? Is there a bet with you and Skylar have a bet?
Me and Skylar talked at the beginning of the season before anything, and she told me like, "You need to be leading the ACC in steals."
Okay,
At
did
the
that.
end. Yeah, so that was from what I know. I don't know. You
Oh,
heard
okay,
anything
okay,
else?
okay.
That was about it. Is there something
Okay.
else? There's
I
something
don't
else?
know. I
Oh,
don't know. I
that's
was
all I
told.
know. That's all I know.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. Our last thing is our vibe check, which is going to be rapid fire answers. You ready?
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
I'm a little
What's
scared.
the drill? Don't be scared. Don't be scared. What's the drill you never want to see on the practice plan?
Um. I say triangle rebounding.
That just sounds like a lot.
We gotta run in a circle, and then the one of the coaches shoot the ball, and then we have to find a body and box out. And that's hard
Oh,
when the men are coming full speed at you.
yes.
You gotta yeah, I don't really like
Yeah,
that.
we did a similar thing. Like if they get it, then you're running. Like
Oh, yeah, 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 and
yeah,
if you don't get it 3 times, then everybody
you're
on the line.
gone.
Everybody on the
Yeah.
line, so
Okay. Yeah, it sounds horrible. Next one: game-winning shot or game-winning steal.
game-winning shot,
Okay.
for sure,
And one or three-pointer.
and 1.
Yeah, those get you hyped up.
And
I've seen
1
it.
is I mean, the flex is 3.
All right, group TikTok or solo TikTok?
No, group. All my TikToks they're all group. It's either me and the duo or me and the team, so it's group.
All right. Who's the biggest trash talker? It could be on your team or anyone you played against.
The biggest trash talker, I think, that had to be a player.
Yeah. Oh, if it's someone else, you can say someone else.
My mom is the biggest trash talker I've met in my whole life. She trash
Okay.
talk about anything.
I feel like all moms be doing that.
It has to be. It has to just be a mom thing. It
Yeah,
must
it
be.
is.
It
It
is
is.
okay.
All right. Who's the biggest flopper?
The biggest flopper. Uh, on my team, AD.
Really?
AD, yeah, man, and she's a little dramatic too, so if you touch her a little bit, she's rolling on the
She's
floor.
gone.
She's
She's
on the
gone.
floor.
All right. What's your biggest basketball ick?
Um, I would say a bad call.
Okay.
A bad call, a bad
Yeah.
ref who can't explain to me why he called it or why she called it.
Yeah. Or like when they don't give you one and then the refs are like,
Yeah,
oh, you can handle it.
yeah,
It
yeah,
is
or
a foul.
my bad, I missed it. That one really gets me. I got you
Yeah.
next time. I'm like, "No, I wanted it
I
right
wanted it
right
now.
there, right now." Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Who is someone you would want to play 2-on-2 with? And it can't be one of your teammates.
Someone I wanna play 2-on-2. I'm gonna take 2-on-2. Anyone. Imma do a recap.
Anyone.
A
Oh,
recap.
okay. That's
A
a good. We
recap.
just talked about guard you, so I feel like that's a
Yeah,
good one.
right. A recap.
Okay. What's your favorite pregame hype song?
Um, that's tough. I don't really have a
We could go back to Kirk.
yeah,
Anything
yeah,
Kirk.
like, anything Kirk really gets me going. Like you
Oh,
said,
for sure.
Melodies from Heaven. It's like,
Melodies from
okay,
Heaven. I'm
here we
personally
go.
also a big like Love Theory fan. I feel like that
Ooh, I
one.
never
Hannah.
okay, okay. Okay,
After practice, listen
okay.
to it.
I'll get locked in. That's how I lock into practice. I'll listen to it before
Yeah,
practice.
yeah, yeah. No, no, no. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be
Love
good.
theory. Okay.
Okay, our last question is what's your best impersonation of Coach Ivy?
Ah, I can't do it now. I don't have the heels on, but she be stumping her heel,
I
and like
have seen
if she's
that.
mad, she starts stumping her heel.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to look out
Mhm.
for it. Well, Hannah, this has been so great. We're gonna need to get you on in a couple years when you're graduating and you're
Okay,
headed into the league. But thank you so much for coming on. It's been such a pleasure.
absolutely. It's been nice talking to you. Thank you for
I'm
having
so
me.
excited to watch you kill in the tournament too.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to play.
But thank you to everybody for listening. Stay tuned for another episode of Sometimes I Hope.